it's safe to say that Phase 1 of the MCU has been something of a shaky foundation. While many fans really enjoyed the bold vision of Captain America the First Avenger, it did prove somewhat divisive, as this wasn't so much the Captain America that comics lovers know and love, but instead more of a formative tale of his origins. But still, it was a good film. But then we move over to the sequel, the second film in Marvel Phase 1, and that is Captain America Civil War, which pitted Captain America against Iron Man, and wow, we never thought we'd see these two characters come together on screen. However, it feels like a light Avengers movie in a way, as they've introduced a lot of new elements here. So it's quite a bloated and muddled film. Fortunately, the Blu-ray release patched a lot of that up. Moving over to Guardians of the Galaxy though, no extended cut could save this dumpster fire. A mishmash of pop music and one-liners just isn't enough without a good story behind it and strong characters. And overall, it just comes off desperate. But don't worry, the Black Widow movie is here to salvage everything with an interesting genre piece, and a story that takes things back to basics, a much more promising future for the MCU going forward. And now everything comes together with the Avengers. The trouble is, this picture is very reactionary to previous ones, as at the last minute, Warner Brothers brought Joss Whedon in to conduct heavy reshoots on The Avengers, as opposed to sticking with Joss Whedon's original vision. Two different directors that clearly conflict. But on the bright side, this film introduced us to Black Panther, War Machine, Luke Cage, Shang-Chi, the Falcon. It's just a shame that it killed them all off. So yeah, definitely going off the rails, but Thor was definitely a big improvement. Little bombastic, and Kenneth Branagh definitely took this whole project all over the place, but it was fine. Follow that up with the charming Deadpool solo movie, which riffs on many of the different aspects of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and we're pretty much golden at this point. However, at this point I'm starting to wonder what is to come of Steve Rogers and Tony Stark. In an interesting offshoot though, we got the non-canon Loki solo movie, which drew inspiration from multiple Martin Scorsese films like Taxi Driver, and I must say I felt so sorry for Loki. This film was really deep. When Loki got beaten up by frost giants, God, I felt that right here. Seeing Loki live in a society just is so relatable, and I really aspire to be like this Loki guy. It's just so sad and tragic. He's just so sad all the time, and society's so mean to him, and it's so sad, guys. It's so fucking deep. Moving back into the main continuity though, we have Dora Milaje and the Noble Crusade of famous intergalactic warrior, a film that teams up Gamora from that, Guardians of the Galaxy movie that you didn't watch, with the Dora Milaje for some fucking reason, I guess. And it's all this very urban, sort of tongue-in-cheek action romp that tackles themes of sexism. Gamora is, for some reason, now divorced from Peter Quill. Not literally divorced marriage-wise, but I guess they just had a falling out off screen or something. And then remember that Black Widow movie that everyone really liked, that really interesting genre piece? Well, now we've got Black Widow 1984, a film that's not only set in 1984, but likes to think it was made in 1984, while completely forgetting that films in the 1980s still had such a thing as attention to detail. But what does any of that matter when you can wank yourself off to the 1980s some more? But finally, after much campaigning, justice is served. Or should I say, avenging is served, as we get the release of Joss Whedon's The Avengers. If you remember, the original Avengers release was bogged down with awful reshoots when they brought Joss Whedon in at the last minute to reshoot 80% of the film, and it strayed too far from Joss Whedon's original vision. So now, there's no Joss Whedon reshoots, no Joss Whedon involvement whatsoever, just Joss Whedon's The Avengers. Joss Whedon's pure, unfettered vision. And I gotta say, it puts the original Joss Whedon version to shame. Joss Whedon, go fuck yourself, restore the Whedonverse. So that's the story so far. The Marvel Extended Universe from Warner Brothers is looking a bit interesting. So it seems that they're not going to be following up with many further Captain America or Iron Man films or anything that takes place in the Whedonverse, as here is the slate going forward. So I guess I can safely say I'm looking forward to The Guardians of the Galaxy, which serves as kind of a soft reboot, but also kind of semi-continuation of the original Guardians of the Galaxy, which released earlier. And I guess Warner Brothers aren't interfering as much this time. They've got James Gunn directing, as opposed to James Gunn, which was a really bad move, when they clearly were far more interested in having James Gunn direct it. Nothing against James Gunn as a director, but James Gunn was clearly not a good fit for Guardians of the Galaxy, and James Gunn is going to be a much better fit for The Guardians of the Galaxy, which is great. I can't wait to see James Gunn's The Guardians of the Galaxy. Still, I hope they release the Gunn cut of the original Guardians of the Galaxy, as it's clear that James Gunn wanted to take things in a direction that Warner Brothers weren't interested in, but hey, at least they've got a new director in James Gunn, which is a much better fit for James Gunn's The Guardians of the Galaxy, directed by James Gunn. And then following that is a really intriguing reboot of Iron Man. It's a non-canon solo movie that's supposed to start up a trilogy. So no Robert Downey Jr., a completely new actor in the role playing a much younger take on Iron Man. And I'm intrigued. It seems like the director has got his complete vision. I don't know who it is, but Warner Brothers have promised not to interfere this time, so it's looking promising. Then after that, we have the Ant-Man solo movie, which is going to adapt Secret Wars 2. But only very loosely, as Ant-Man is basically going to retcon the entire Whedonverse out of existence, and it's gonna be epic, as Ant-Man is guided through time and space by two different Iron Men, one of which will be Robert Downey Jr.'s final appearance in the role. The other of which will be, I don't know, some other Iron Man that came decades before, that I guess we just don't know anything about. You expect me to do research? Don't you know? This is the comic book cast too, serving up unsubstantiated rumors left and right. But here's something that's definitely legitimate. We're getting a Captain America reboot with a black lead, except it's not gonna be Sam Wilson, it's going to be a black Steve Rogers. But it's not gonna be canon to the MCU going forward. And I guess there just isn't a Captain America in the MCU going forward. I mean, there's no plans. There's no plans. You know, we announced this on Chris Evans' birthday as well, just to, you know... I mean, he's not gonna care, right? It doesn't matter to him. So then, to establish this newly rebooted and fresh Marvel Cinematic Universe, we have Thor 2 and Deadpool 2. And everything is all evergreen afterwards, so I can't wait for MCU Phase 2. It's sounding pretty fucking epic if I do say so myself. It really sounds like they've got an airtight plan. Like, Warner Brothers, you know what direction you're steering this ship in. And it's so nice to see that you guys aren't racist as well, and you're giving us like a black Steve Rogers. I mean, like, yeah, like, who really gives a fuck about, you know, Sam Wilson or War Machine or Black Panther or any shit like that, you know? Like, at the end of the day, you know, like a white superhero is just intrinsically better, so just make them black instead. You got it, Warner Brothers. You got it. This all just sounds so cohesive and so clever, and I definitely don't resent you guys ditching all of the continuity that you set up. Man, that Thanos tease at the end of Joss Whedon's Avengers, right? That wasn't very interesting at all. I don't want to see that followed up. God. I'd much rather just see Thor 2. Yeah, no. So yeah, future's really fucking bright for this Warner Brothers Marvel Cinematic Universe, you guys. What do you think? Comment below and discuss. And as always, if you've enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it, hit subscribe, hit the like button, share the video around with anyone who gives a shit. And in the description below is the links to my social media, such as Twitter, where you can stay in touch with me, as well as a Patreon, because I fucking need money. Give it to me now, you motherfucker. With all that being said, I resent you for watching this, and have a horrible day.